Today in our 2017 Chevrolet Spark, we're going to take a look at and show you how to install the Blue Ox base plate kit with removable arms. Part number is BX1725. Now here's what your base plate's going to look like installed. As you can see, with the removable arms, we're able to really camouflage it. It doesn't add a whole lot of difference in the look quality of the front of your vehicle. What you'll have exposed is going to be the pocket and where you'll add your removable arms. You can see they provide dust caps to keep dirt and debris out. And you just want to slide your arm in and rotate it into its locked position. You're going to have your safety chain connection point here right beside it. Very easy to attach a quick link there. The base plate's also going to have two bars that come out. That's for attaching a bracket to if you want to use a 6-pole round or a 4-pole round. As you can see, our customers opted for a 4 flat, so we'll just let that hang there. It offers an attachment point for your breakaway switch, which is typically going to be required for any braking system. And again, over here, safety chain connection point and our other removable arm attachment point location. Now to remove the arms, you're simply going to pull on the pin, rotate, and remove. And then of course you always want to put your caps back in just to keep dirt and debris from building up inside. Now our installation is going to begin here with the hood open. We're going to have a 10mm bolt and a push pin fastener to remove on both sides. So we've got those here and also here. Now the socket we'll use is going to be 10mm. It's not a large 10mm bolt. We just want to get that removed. Then on our push pin fastener here, we want to pull out the center section of it. You can use a little screwdriver. You can see we're just using a pick here. Then once that's up, even if it separates, that's fine. And we'll just pop out the inside of it. Now on both of our wheel wells, we're going to have push pin fasteners here that hold the fender liner to the fascia. We want to take both of those out. We'll do that on both sides. Now if we pull back that fender liner, just kind of push in on it, right here there's a 7mm headed screw that we need to remove. It's the screw that holds the fascia to the fender well here. It's going to be right there. We'll do that on our passenger side as well. Now we'll come to the underside of the fascia, right around this area. All the way across, we've got 8 screws here that we're going to be removing. Now if you have this little lip that runs around the bottom edge, we want to avoid the ones that are actually holding that on. You can see like this one here. We're going to avoid that one. We want to remove these. So we've got one here. For all these, we'll use a 7mm socket. We're going to have the one here. This will be our third one on the driver's side. Then we'll have the 3 here on our passenger side to take out. Now if your vehicle is equipped with fog lights, you want to pull back and down on our fender liner there. Reach right up inside. You can see the maroon plug here on the back side of the light. And on the top there's a small lock, so you pull back on that, then you'll press down on the tab. Just wiggle it to separate. You can see there's that little gray lock. Just slide that back, and then you'll just press down on that tab. Now with the help of an extra set of hands, we're going to get our fascia pulled off. You want to start right at the intersection of the fascia and the fender well here. You can see you just very gently pull out, work your way all the way up the seam there. Then we'll get it set aside somewhere safe. You can use the paper inside of your Blue Ox kit and kind of lay that out and let it rest on top if you'd like. Now we're going to trim out the plastic panel that comes down here on each side of the vehicle. We want to measure down from the bumper about 3.5 inches and make a mark. Now we're going to trim all the way around that line at the 3.5 inch mark, and we're going to be removing this upper section. Now we're going to use a pair of like aviation snips here to cut. You might have to clean it up a little bit with a razor knife if you can't cut all the way through. There's a little wire on the back here for your sensor. You want to avoid cutting that, of course. Now right here where you can see this Christmas tree fastener come through, on the back side is that sensor wire. So we're going to pull that out, and then right here on the bottom side of the bumper there's a push pin fastener. We'll also remove that. Now we're going to remove this, do the same thing on the other side, and of course we'll still need to clean up that edge a little. Now across the top of the bumper beam here, we've got 4 push pin fasteners that we want to remove. With the 4 of those out, we want to grab our 13mm socket. We're going to remove the 4 bolts that hold our bumper beam on each side. The first one I remove, I always thread it back in a little bit just to hold it. Let's give that 1 or 2 turns. That'll hold our beam in place while we're over working on the other side. Now here on the passenger side, these are the 4 locations where that bumper beam was held in place. We want to come right down the frame rail here to the second hole. You can see it here. We need to get that enlarged to 3/8 of an inch. You have to be very careful of your line here. You don't want to do any damage to that. Now we're going to use a little rust preventative spray paint. Just go over that hole lightly just to prevent any rusting down the road. Now we're going to grab our base plate. We want to grab a couple of our 3/8 bolts here. And the rear hole on our base plate is going to align with the hole we just drilled out. Now the passenger side is the only one that was required drilling. We'll just slide it up and in here. Once you've got your hole lined up, so we'll slide your bolt through there, and that'll hold it in position for us. Just like that. We can use one of those on each side just to hold it for now. Now we're going to use red Loctite on all of our bolts. Don't need a bunch, just want enough to really cover the threads well. Then we'll take our handle nut, that's going to fit inside of the frame, and we want to thread it right onto the bolt we put in. You'll notice as we put it on, we want to have our lock washer in place as well. Now we'll just repeat that process for our driver's side as well. Now we'll get our base plate leveled out. Now once you've leveled the vehicle and the base plate, or at least got your level to match both of them, we're ready to get those bolts we just installed snugged down and torqued to specification. Now they're 3/8 bolts, so you'll want to use a 9/16 socket. Now we'll take the handle off of our handle nut here. I like to pry out on it right up by the nut plate. you put a little bend in it, then you should just be able to move it back and forth and it'll break off. Now we can use the 2 remaining holes in our base plate on each side of the vehicle and drill holes out to 3/8 of an inch there. Now we'll take our handle nuts here, place bolts through, remember red Loctite on them, and we'll get these threaded in, get them started. Now we'll get those snug down and torque to specification. Now we'll head over to our driver's side and we'll repeat that same process there. I should just be able to bend our wires back and forth here, break them loose, get them out of the way. Now we'll get our bumper beam put back in position here. And to do that, we're just going to line up the 4 holes and put our factory hardware back in. Now we're going to realign the bumper and tighten our bolts down. You'll notice the marks where the washers were previously. You can see it underneath there. To get your bumper back in line, just make sure you have those lined up when you tighten it down. Now we'll do the same thing over on the other side and our bumper should be right back in line. Now we want to go through and torque down all 8 of our fasteners. Now we want to install our permanent safety cables. They're going to be attaching to this large hole in the base plate. Just want to go through around some larger pieces of steel, so we're going to go around the frame here and also the lower bumper structure there. Let's go right over, grab that. You just want to bring that loop down. And bring both ends right back up. We'll get them attached right there. You want to be sure this isn't rubbing up against any moving parts or anything that it might damage. We'll place our quick link through, attach our cables, and thread that down on. And with the 15mm, just want to give it a little torque. Now we can head over to the passenger side and do the same thing. And if you'd like to, you can use a zip tie just to bunch up your excess right down here. Now as part of our kit, you're also going to get a breakaway switch mount. That's designed for you to mount right here on the front side of the bumper. You can do it with the tab out or with the tab back. Really, it's going to depend on your breakaway switch. This one happens to be a longer breakaway switch, so we'll be mounting ours this way. That's just going to help us keep it even with the front of our wiring bars here. Like I said, if you need to, if you've got a shorter breakaway switch, you can flip that around and get it out a little further. We'll just use one of the provided self-tapping screws to get that mounted in location. Now we're going to center our breakaway switch between our safety cable connection point here and our wiring mount there. You can pick a location that you like anywhere in here. Go right there. We use that as the center point. Once we have that mounted where we want it, we'll use our self-tapping screw here just to start the middle of the hole, then we can enlarge it. Now we'll just get our bracket secured. Now we're just going to use a couple of zip ties to go around our base plate and secure our breakaway switch wiring and any other wiring we might need for our tow system to work. Get those snipped off, and now we're going to test fit our fascia back on the vehicle. And you can see here our breakaway switch, it's the first thing to make contact with the back of the fascia. So we're going to mark that and trim out an area. We're going to go from there. We'll start by taking out the area we have in yellow, test it again and see how it fits. Now I'm going to use side cutters to make my initial rough cuts. Then we can clean them up with our razor knife. Next area we'll trim is going to be for our safety cable connection points there. And we're just going to test it and cut, trim until we have room to get our fascia slid into position. Once that area is cleared out, we'll start making room for our removable arms attachment point. Now we'll go back across our bumper beam and we want to put those 4 push pin fasteners back in place. Now with our fascia back on the vehicle loosely installed, you'll kind of see how everything's going to look. All of our tabs have clearance so they can come out here, readily accessible. If you're staying with 4-pole wiring, you can run it right through one of the slots there. Then you just want to gently put everything back on, and then we just want to reverse the process we used for removing the fascia to get it back in place. And once you get your fascia back in place, don't forget to reconnect your fog lights. You can do it by reaching in right here or up from the bottom like we did before. Now with all of our fasteners back in place, that's going to complete our installation of the Blue Ox baseplate kit with removable arms. Part number BX1725 on our 2017 Chevrolet Spark.